Welcome. This is the Global Summit House podcast. Catch power interviews and discussions with influential, inspiring, and powerful people. Explore what's possible by tuning into this podcast with our all-new The Writers Project episodes, featuring one of the world's most inspired thinkers and writers. Visit our website at www.globalsummithouse.com.
Hello, my people. Welcome to another episode Beyond the Natural with your host, Marcus Hart. This is going to be another amazing show, but this time we have an even better guest for you. We have today with you Larry Hodges. He's the author of the book, The Battle of Life, Recognizing the Adversity, or the Adversary. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Adversary. Yes. So just a quick little one-liner from the book summary itself off the back or from the inside. Recognizing your adversary is very difficult and requires the same commitment as the cultivation of any other skill or talent if success is to be achieved. This wisdom is paramount for everyone, but only utilized by those who recognize the game. What is the game? What are the stakes? And I'm going to let Larry take it from here. So, Larry, just based on what I just read, and I'm sure there's quite a bit of your story that we much can dive deep into behind, how this all came about. Why don't you just share a little bit about that and much more.
In actuality, I was very much an adult before I recognized the influence, the spiritual influence that is upon our lives. And then I recollect many events in my life that were influenced from a very young age. And even today, I see a confirmation of that in the lives of my children. As a matter of fact, with the conversation, or in a conversation with my 11-year-old daughter, she has experienced a great deal of spiritual combat and conflict. And it's reminiscent of myself in my younger days. And the amazing thing is she realizes this, whereas I didn't, and most people don't. They just kind of go through life haphazardly, taking things as they come and not understanding the influence of the spiritual world. And that's what we really want to become aware of. And, we are in spiritual combat, and most of us just don't know. We are oblivious to the battle.
You know what? I can't agree with you more. When I think about it, I have myself had those same personal trials and tribulations, and it seems as though this game of life is in fact a battle. Thinking back on your earlier life, and and maybe it seems as though you're teaching it to your children now, and so that they can help their children's children. What are your earliest memories?
But the earliest memory that I have as a young boy in I believe maybe the 5th grade, I was in class and the teacher asked me to spell the word Christmas, and my mind went blank. I couldn't spell the word Christmas. And a friend of mine in my class, he started to laugh at me. Well, I was okay with that, for a little while. But then I became very angry. And the next thing that I knew, I was sitting in a corner, and the teacher told me that I had taken a chair and was beating the boy with the chair. And I had no recollection of that, which is another confirmation for me that anger is an avenue in which the spiritual really exerts its influence, to the point of not just influencing, but possessing. So all these things, that are occurring, you need to be aware of it. You need to understand when it's you, when it's not you. What is happening? What are the consequences? Can you connect the dots? Can you connect the event with the consequences? All of these things are vital when it comes to life. If you're not aware of it, you're losing the battle.
You know what? That's very, you really touch some light on some things that, I think all of us don't really have a conscious awareness of oftentimes that, we all battle with. And, you got a very interesting character in the book called Demon Jack. Oftentimes, and as I take a little closer look at Demon Jack, would you describe Demon Jack as a piece of all of us, and not necessarily, a character in itself?
Demon Jack is my personal tormentor, but we all have a Demon Jack. We all have a personal tormentor, and this may be more than one. But once I recognize the influence of the spiritual in my life, I knew then that this is a character that is affecting my life, and I named him Demon Jack. When things were going negatively and out of my control, then if it's not in my control, then whose control is it in? Who's controlling me? Who's influencing the situation? Demon Jack. Well, we all have a Demon Jack. And my demon, he would wait for the situation to arise where he can really negatively influence my life. And he did just that.
Yeah, I find that interesting, especially, when when you was describing, what happened to you very earlier, with your struggle with, with exploding like that, with anger, and then you really illustrated, very, very, artistically with, Demon Jack, and you said that, people, often can have more than one Demon Jack. How can we, take your book and learn to tame or combat against our own personal tormentors or our own Demon Jacks? Well,
you have to first know your three personal enemies, and the first being the flesh. That is you. You have to know when you have negatively impacted the situation. The second one is the world. You have to know when your environment, your society, your culture has negatively influenced your situation. And then thirdly is spiritual. You have to know when there is a spiritual influence in your world. You have to understand that we live in the material and the spiritual. And both worlds are working simultaneously. And if you don't have the knowledge of what is occurring, then you don't really know what to do. There is a passage in the Bible where the prophet's servant is looking at an army that is about to attack them. And the servant was afraid. Well, the prophet prayed and he asked that the servant's eyes be opened. And when the servant's eyes were opened, he looked into heaven and he seen a band of angels that were on their side. You're going to have to be able to understand that can you command or ask for or be in a situation where who is defending you is greater than who is against you? Well, you have to first start with you. You have to first start by understanding you. Is this me? A lot of things that occurred in my life, it was me. I can't blame anyone else. But then there are many things that I know I would not have done. There was a situation where I was sitting down and my uncle approached me and he said to me, Neff, he said, I'm going to see a seer. Do you want to come and go? Well, I didn't believe in that sort of thing, but I loved my uncle. So, I seen this opportunity to spend time with my uncle. So I said, sure, I'll go. And we went to this gentleman's house and he greeted us with a smile. And so I assumed that my uncle was familiar with this guy.
Right.
So we sat down and he told my uncle, to come into a room, and he told me to sit there and wait. And I did. And it seemed maybe 30 minutes had gone by, and my uncle came out of the room. So then he beckoned me to come into the room. So, okay, but I didn't believe in any of that, so I said, okay, I'll go along with it. So I went in the room, the guy set me down, and he had a root on the end of a string, and he began to swing this root. And it seems that, and I don't remember him asking me any questions. All I remember is that my uncle and I were leaving, and it felt like I had been there for maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes. But from that point on, there were always voices in my head, which were not there, or I didn't have this situation until then. So, and these voices that were in my head always tried to encourage me to do negative things. And so I began to think, that, okay, I'm weird, that there's something not right.
Right.
But then my wife and I began to work with young troubled youth, and so many. One young girl, she said, all I want, the judge gave a probation. We talked to her and her mom, and she said, all I want in life is for these voices to get out of my head. And I could totally understand what she was saying. She was saying that they tormented her. Well, I was experiencing the same thing. And there's just many occasions. You know, a 6-year-old kid, only 6 years old, he said that demons were in his room and they would follow him to school. And they would sit in his class with him. And then he asked me, he said, well, Mr. Hodges, do you want me to draw a picture of a demon? I said, sure. And sure enough, he drew a picture. And later, his mom said that she seen the demons too. She said that a preacher came to their home and he prayed. And when he left, one of the demons slammed the door and said, okay, what you want to do now? You know, there are many stories like this, just many. I've said young kids tell me, you know, and it was a confirmation of the same thing that I personally was experiencing. So that now my young kids, my 11-year-old daughter, you know, she will wake up in the middle of the night and I would turn the lights on and she would be fighting, you know, and saying, you know, Daddy, help me, Daddy, help me, Daddy. You know, and she would say, you know, they're trying to get me. If all of these experiences are experiences that many people have, but they don't want to acknowledge it because they don't want people to think that they're crazy. Well, my book, what I want people to do is to understand that no, you're not crazy. On the back of my book is a poem, and the poem is, have you felt the devil try and steal? Well, before I put that in the book, it was on the wall at my wife's job. And this young kid, 16 years old, he came in and he sang the poem. And he would not stop until my wife called me so that he could talk to me because he had experienced the very same thing.
Right.
Well, this is true with many people, but no one wants to say it, or you know, they're afraid to admit it. But the fact of the matter is, you know, whether you admit it or not, you know, it's so. Whether you believe in religion or not does not make it not true. Yeah. And we know these things because, you know, there are just too many phenomena that have occurred that give them validation. All I do is in my book is I put a name on it, Demon Jack. Demon Jack, it was and still is my own personal tormentor, you know, and I got my tormentor, you know, and everybody else has theirs. Well, he has more access to me if I become very angry. But even though I'm not angry, he still tries to exert some influence in my life to make wrong decisions. And he did just that. And I made a lot of wrong decisions, paying the penalty for them. You know, the consequences, you know, many were devastating. And I had to understand, you know, that, okay, I'm out of control. But the only thing that's going to get me in control is knowledge and understanding the influences in my life. And that's what I've done, you know, and that's what I do. You know, I just spoke with a parent. She has a strong-willed child, and she's experiencing problems. You know, so it's you know, it's everywhere. common, whereas people may think that it is uncommon, but it is extremely common.
Well, I think you said something that was really key, to, what your transformation was with being more of a victim to, the torment, and being able to become more empowered and being able to move into the next chapter of your life, and having more power, and being able to win the battle of this over this. And seem like you are more hopeful and more optimistic through all of this now, and being able to help other people. So being that we getting close to time. So what is that that secret ingredient now that you use now to be able to help yourself and help others? If you can put it in a few words.
The major ingredient is when I'm influenced, when they're asking me or trying to demand that I do something wrong, is it against someone good? So, generally, they want you to hurt or to do something negative to someone that is good, as opposed to someone that is bad. It is the old adage that, that a house cannot stand against itself. Well, it's not fighting itself. It's fighting the opposite. It's good that it's bad that it's fighting good. So you have to see the situation as, okay, is this a situation where bad is trying to derail good? Then, if that is the case, and you see that you're out of control, then you need to understand then now who is in control. If I'm out of control, then who's in control? If I'm not in the driver's seat, then who is? For me, it's Demon Jack.
I like that. Being able to have a clear, picture and clear understanding of, whose side, are you standing on? It's like that old song.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's all right there. You have a clear picture of, who the enemy is, then that's quite clear, so you couldn't put it in better words there. I like that, Larry. So you're all right there. so I hope somebody catch that. So man.
I hope so too.
Tell us where we can find the book, and if there's anything additional you want to put in the final words, you can do that, and we wrap the show up.
Well, what I would really like, you can buy the book on Amazon, but I would like for people to buy the book, but not just buy the book, contact me, on my email, which is Hodges.Larry, the number 8 at gmail.com, because people need to be able to share their story with someone, or their stories with someone that they feel confident, who's not going to think that, wow, I'm just crazy or I'm nuts. I would love for them to send me an email at Larry.Hodges, the number 8 at gmail.com, and tell me their story. I've heard many stories. Those are just minor. I know stories that are, life-threatening. And I would just love to, to be able to tell people that, this is your situation. This is what you need to be aware of, and this is what you need to do.
Awesome. Well, I greatly appreciate it, and I hope you continue to tell your story too out there to many more people, because you do have an amazing story, and I really feel like you are like helping a lot of people, man. You definitely have helped me. Being being someone who has had many supernatural experiences myself. So I can share in this story, and I definitely like to read the book. So myself. So thank you again for joining us. I don't know if you got to run right away. If not, just hold the line just briefly. If not, you can disconnect if you have to. Otherwise, you can hold briefly.
I can hold the line. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Let me just close out here. We just had a talk and conversation with Larry Hodges. He's the author of the Battle of Life, Recognizing the Adversary. The Battle of Life, Recognizing the Adversary. Larry Hodges. Do connect with him. He did leave his contact information. When you do connect with him, let him know that Marcus Hart, so I'm forgetting the show title. Let him know Marcus sent you over. Just let him know Marcus sent you over. So, man, he gave me so much to think about, man. I'm just focused on the book now. So at first I couldn't think of the last part of the book title. So now I'm getting jogged up about the podcast title. But so much that we offered it in this particular episode. So do get in touch with them. Let them know that we sent you over, and we will be back for another amazing episode. Until next time, many blessings, peace, and lots of love. And we're disconnecting here for this particular episode.
You've reached the end of another episode of the Global Summit House podcast. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, iTunes, or Google Play. Connect with us at globalsummithouse.com. See you on the next episode.